That's right. I see MSG up early on the west side. Early, first one in the chat here at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman. But welcome to Havana, smoking Cubanos with Castro and Cabanas. Viva Mexico, Cubano, Dominicano, all the plugs that I know. But we got mad plugs here for Hamin Media Group.podbean.com, hackerhamin.podbean.com, twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman, and pro wrestling tees.com/Ben Hamin Infidels. It's Monday morning. Let's get up, fam. Let's do it. Gang, gang, gang. Monday Locker Room is here to ride out and get some retribution. YOLO. Oh, yeah, man. He's hot on the case. He's hot on the trail. He's going to track down retribution and get us some answers. It's Detective Rick Vickery joining us this morning. Look at him. He's a gumshoe.
Rick Tracy. There he is.
There you go, baby. Hey, I had to check the yellow coat, but I am ready to go here. Hey, we've got a lot to talk about. Retribution right up there. Before we jump in, I don't want to give anything away of the big news that we've got that we're going to discuss here probably near the open. But I wanted to thank you, Beast, for having me on What Makes You Tick yesterday. Tremendous opportunity. I know, Ben, you were gracious with your presence for a few moments there to enlighten all the infidels. But hey, I guess within 18 hours, you got the trio from the Monday Locker Room back together again. But overall, it was a tremendous conversation and always great to have a platform to reconnect with one of the OGs from the Monday Locker Room, Michael Jargo.
Absolutely. We got Jargo to wear a tie. That was incredible. I was most impressed with that part.
You know shit's going downhill when they start doing biz cash on their own. You know what I mean? Like they all get tonight and shit. That's how I know something's up. They're all plotting against me. Something's going down. And I don't doubt that you're the one behind it, man. Beast trying to be my best friend just to get all my guys to turn against me and stab me in the back.
You talk about a little retribution, right?
That's it right there. Yeah. I probably deserve it, so it'll be good when it comes.
Yeah, there you go. You bring me in just a couple months ago, and I'm already plotting.
Straight up Bruce Pritchard style, baby. I knew it.
Two points in that fish sandwich.
Yeah, but the more Rizzies we run across, the more problems we see, infidels, because they think they're over, but they're not over. This guy's truly over in the eyes of the hustler, Rip Rogers, Ben Hamin, and most of the wrestling world. It's Dr. Ted McNaylor. Good morning, buddy.
Good morning. Good to be here. And still this week, he's always an interesting talk, whether it's just chatting with him over the phone or having him on our show. And it's there's only one hustler. There's only one. They say some people are one in a million. Hustler Rip Rogers is once in a lifetime. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of people were hitting me up like, man, he sounds like Cornette on a lot of things. Nope. Cornette sounds like Rip. Get it right. Cornette's been in this business a long time, and they both come from the same area and whatnot. Well, Cornette wasn't trained by Roddy Piper, the Macho Man. Not to say he didn't put his time in and run, Smoky Mountain, and obviously a long list of accolades. But to me, as alternative as he might be and is like crazy to the wrestling world, he's a toned down version of Rip Rogers, in my opinion. So more digestible and understood, but people are going crazy for that Monday Locker Room last week. If you haven't listened, it's some evergreen content. It's not going to go, based on time alone. Rip, when he speaks, you shut the fuck up and listen, and you get pearls of wisdom. And if it's up to you to apply them the right way, and if you don't, well, then that's on you. Or if you're too emotional to handle blue language and you can't cut through it for the knowledge, then you were never meant to have it anyway, to be honest with you. So, but today we don't need the hustler. I mean, we'd love to have him always, and maybe we'll find some place on a regular schedule to start fitting them in, to be honest with you, because it's a great draw every time, man. But we're back Monday morning. It was a big weekend. We had UFC org, Scientology meeting going on Saturday night where we all confessed and we all got audited while we watched UFC. And I thought I got fucking rocked in the points, but I actually came out on top again. So defending HMG TV UFC champion over there, man. And at two of the fights I thought I lost, I had actually picked the guy who won. I didn't have my picks written down. I thought I got fucking housed, but I actually came back in and did what I had to do. So we're having a lot of fun over there at Hamin Media Group. You guys watch alongs just to be in a thread with other wrestling fans. We got the Pick'em challenges for both UFC and the WWE pay-per-views. And we've got a new, contest we're actually announcing for all Hamin Media Group listeners. is it's going to be called our 5-star star search. We're taking submissions from now all the way till Labor Day weekend, and then we're going to narrow that down to 5. And the fans all together are going to have a vote. HMG producers are going to have a vote. I'm going to have a single vote because I'm the Simon Cowell of this shit, except I don't break my back. I break other people's backs, infidels. And he broke his back falling off his bicycle this week. And then, we'll figure out who else might get a vote in there. But it should be a good time. So if you are a podcaster or you start thinking about a podcast, you've got something unique. It doesn't have to be wrestling based. It can be something that you're way into and a professional of, and there's a demographic for it. Or, maybe you just want to get off the ground, and this is the way to start. And we're going to choose one show and become an official Hamin Media Group affiliate as well. So we know we got a lot of great listeners out there who are producers as well, or people just want to, talk about whatever it is. Like we have Star Wars, conspiracy, obviously, aside from wrestling, and plenty of other things. So if you've got something pretty cool that you're into, go over to the Hamin Media discussion group on Facebook. Check it out. We're putting it out everywhere. It's on Hamin Media Group Twitter right now with the email to mail the show to. But get producing, make something. And you never know where that pebble in the pond can take you guys, because it's all about the community here. And you're going to have a built-in audience right away if you're the one chosen. And that's one of the hardest things to do in podcasting is start slow, adding 2 subs a day. You get over to 100 and you're really pumped. Then you get to 1,000 and things just start happening. But we're here with over 2 million downloads, and you can jump on this wave and surf it with us. So we're pretty excited about this opportunity for people. And I'm looking forward to people from across the globe, man. That's what's awesome. I'd like to see something from Australia, UK stuff, things I'm not even thinking of. The Canadian contingent. We've got a huge Canadian following. Like there's a lot of stuff people could be doing that would be very interesting to me. So I'm excited to see what happens with that.
Now, Ben, are we looking for wrestling related, non-wrestling related? You kind of mentioned both of those there. Are we kind of moving towards one?
It's everyone's going to get in there, and then we're going to narrow it down to 5. So, because I don't like to do this battle of the bands thing where people can just be like, share it and vote for me and kind of jack a contest. I've always hated that in battle of the bands. I want it to get narrowed down. All submissions, so everyone's on an equal playing field. And then we, as producers, or you guys, will give me the best 5 that you think have the most potential. And from there, we'll go and we'll listen. We'll put them all out there. And like I said, Hamin Media Group is going to have a whole vote to themselves in what they want to. So it'll be pretty interesting, man.
Well, I'd like to add in there if I could.
Yeah.
What a tremendous opportunity this is. And, the eventual winner of this thing is going to become a major player with our affiliate site, which is Hamin Media Group at podbean.com. But just, personally speaking, the way that I had got my start here with HMG was through my own project, the Hitting the Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Yes.
And, and there, Big Ray had heard Jargo and I and thought that we had something that we could offer to you guys, set up that meeting. That led us to getting a spot there on the Monday Locker Room. Just from there, I went from podcasting here on the Hamin Media Group to working the booth at a number of independent wrestling shows, to going back to school for broadcasting, to now calling racing action, things that I'd never imagined just a few years ago. And that's kind of what's awaiting, maybe a handful of, people that are going to participate here in this incredible contest.
That's great. That's a great look back at all the work you've done here to build your own brand, to build your own marketing, herd marketing as well, and just raise your level, just see the potential. Like you say, you can take these people down the horse to the pond, but you can't get them to drink, man. You can lead them right to it, and you can give them the whole method. But if they're not going to really get dirty and do the work it takes, then you're not going to see the rewards. But 3 years in now, we're seeing all kinds of opportunities and making the most of them. And you could go through MSG's level of success. It's almost an identical story, because if you need positive people pushing and saying, yeah, you can do that and you can do more and look at this shit and you're going to fucking feel great about it, That's what being a part of a artist collective really is, and doing art by committee, and getting access to a Stevie Richards, to being in one step away from Vince Russo, to, you know, how close are you to doing what you dream in life? And this podcast could be your pebble in the pond. Like, and I'm like Rick said, sure, we do wrestling here. If you think that's where you want to go in life, because that's our bread and butter here, and that's what you're looking to do, awesome. You know, we're happy to check it out. It's not going to work against anybody. I'm not like, oh, I don't want another wrestling show. You know, like there's plenty of opportunity. It's just going to be what ones that really shine. So do your best. I mean, don't mail it in. You know, mail it in to us, but you know, put forth your best effort. Be meticulous. You've got a little time. Don't procrastinate here. You know, use that 3 weeks to the best that you can, and we're excited. I really would like to see some female voices as well. I think, and international voices. I mean, I'm looking forward to, hopefully, if you're out there listening to us and you're not American, that you're excited to do something, and we'd love to hear it.
The white male American gets screwed again.
We got enough of them.
We got to keep them down somehow. And I would say, just to bounce off what you all are saying, I wouldn't overthink it either. Follow your passions. If you're having fun with it, then we're probably going to have fun listening to it, and people are going to have fun checking it out. So whether it's wrestling related or not, I would say just follow your passion. And Ben, you talk all the time about having friends and family members and colleagues who have passions and talents outside of their 9 to 5, how they keep the roof over their heads, but they never have the opportunity or take the opportunity to bust out of that. And I know you've talked about how, you know, sometimes it's a shame where people have such passion and talent outside of their 9 to 5 and never take advantage or try to chase those opportunities. So I think this is definitely an opportunity for anyone that's out there, really of any age, that has ever thought, man, I'd love to try to do something online and have my own show or podcast and talk about something that I'm really passionate and enjoy talking about. This is that opportunity. And so I'm excited for that.
And you might find out some, say you don't win, say you don't even make it to the top 5. Who gives a shit? You did something. You showed yourself that you can make a podcast and you're passionate about something. Don't let the fact that if you do or you don't make it, how far in any contest, it's that first step. And that's what I'm really trying to do, is get people out of their, comfort zone like that. And then, hey, I did this one podcast, and that means I can do more. And that means spending $110 on Podbean. That's investing in yourself. Are you worth $110? I think you are. You know, especially on the slave market, I could probably get $250 to $350 for most of you. So, you know, unless you're missing, you know, teeth and stuff, that's going to lower the price, and you're blind and stuff like that, then maybe 110.
Unless you're missing all the teeth, but that's a whole nother thing.
That's true. Then it's up. Yeah. I
thought we did want people from the European market.
That we're gonna have. They have extra teeth. They've got crooked extra teeth for them. Yeah, man. That's should be the catalyst for you to become an even more inspired person. Even if you don't get the spot on HMG, you did one. That means you can do 2, 3, 4, and 5, and now you start building your library. And you know, they might take off someplace else for you, or you're just doing work that is very fulfilling, that you don't have to worry about anybody else's opinion.
Y'all are you bitch. Y'all are you pussy.
Okay.
Y'all are you coach and vulture. Y'all are you pizza munching fat fuck.
Well,
y'all are you donut eating fat fuck.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you can't please everybody, you know, and maybe I'll do a pizza, donut, and cookie eating podcast, and I'll submit under a ghost name. We'll see. But we have fun with it either way.
First of all,
shut the fuck up. Shit. But we're going to have a good time here, man. It's Monday morning. We're getting things rocking and rolling. Like we said, UFC was this weekend. Thankfully, no pay-per-view Sunday, so I was able to chill for a little bit, but got out, played some golf yesterday. I hadn't played in like 4 weeks, and referee Sideburns was on his game yesterday too. So I had a couple of holes where I 3-putted, and it just cost me 3 or 4 extra strokes. But we had a good time. It was nice after, I think I worked 22 days straight with no break. So putting in that grind. I see people hitting up like, does Ben Hamin ever sleep? And before we went on the air, the answer to that really is no. Like, never know. So I'm not worried about any home invasion or CIA coming in to do a hit on me because I'm never really asleep anyway. So plus Dogs of War would set off the tone anyway. So, but yeah, man, no sleep for the wicked. That's how we do it here at Hamin Media Group. And if you haven't subscribed on iTunes, Spotify, or on your Podbean, please add the affiliate channel Hamin Media Group. We already know you subscribe to hackerhamin.podbean.com or Hacker Hamin on your iTunes, but Hamin Media Group is where we shifted a lot of our shows that are the producers' pet projects that they're passionate about. We want to shine them individually instead of letting them get lost in the Hacker Hamin feed, and make sure our main stage review shows and some of the bigger shows are getting seen. So we've split out to the network, and we appreciate you guys helping to get those numbers up at haminmediagroup.podbean.com. And on Hacker Hamin, if you can leave us those 5 stars on iTunes, that helps kick us up as well. Leave a message, y'all, you fat bitch, you pussy, or whatever you want. I don't give a
also check out the YouTube page as well. We're working on expanding that as well with some more of video-based projects and things like that. We're throwing up show clips every day, and you can also catch digital debates. And whenever I finally get the drinking show up, which I do have in the can, I'm just being a lazy motherfucker and getting it produced. But I will have that up there hopefully in the next week. And so definitely check that out as
You're
well.
so lazy being a doctor, hosting 3 shows here and producing 3 more. I fucking wish you'd get your shit together. Jay Hal just added the Hamin Media Group for the Horror Junkyard. That's what I'm saying. Like, you guys like the Pro Wrestling Reflection. That's had a great following. Horror Junkyard, new shows with the debate shows, the Suck My Balls podcast, offshoot of NFO. And who knows? I mean, there's more and more coming over there. I think the Desperado show is over there too, right? Is that?
Are you talking about Destino, a New Japan podcast, New Japan wrestling podcast?
It should be called Desperado. I think that's
not well on the show, on the Barnburner show yesterday. I would call it Destino. I felt like such a Kentucky redneck. Oh, you do that Destino show.
Destino, Destino Morella. But yeah, man, like I said, all those shows are not going anywhere, all free, so we appreciate you subbing over there. And the best thing you can do after that is if you can share any of the stuff, that also gets us up in the algorithm, sharing, liking some things. It takes 2 seconds to click, you infidel cocksucker, so do something when I tell you to do it. Y'all, I see the chat room filled up here, 23 strong already. Buckshot Kid, Fudge 420, table adders and chairs. I wonder who that son of a bitch is. Real El Plajar video guy in there. They call me Jamma. Well, shout out Jamma. I haven't seen you. Craigie H hasn't been around in a while, but he's back. John Holmes, JVD, our own Dr. Ted's in there as well, and Matt Schaffer was in there first out of the gate, you guys. So Evil Lord Vaden too. I see you, moron. Don't try and force choke me. I'll force choke you. But y'all, you know what time it is. It's the Monday locker room. So let's set it off with the Monday morning monologue. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hope everyone's having a great Monday morning. Let's look into some of the headlines over the last week. It looks like AEW's action figures were set to release last week, but they're going to be just a little bit late due to some logistical issues. Jazzware's line of AEW Unrivaled figures were set to launch at Walmart's, but we're not quite ready due to them not arriving at stores yet, which is kind of ironic because fans who just want their action figures are the ones being toyed with. TNT has announced 3 preemptions of AEW Dynamite due to their NBA broadcast schedule. Some fans are understandably upset that wrestling is being preempted by basketball, but at least it's not a dog show. Speaking of AEW, they announced that MJF is set to challenge for the AEW World title at AEW All Out on September 5th. I can only hope MJF wins the championship here, because if Jon Moxley defeats MJF to retain the title at All Out, then in regards to having legitimate tenders for the title, AEW will be All Out. After it appeared that Anna Jay had joined the group The Dark Order, Dustin Rhodes is now trying to convince her to leave the cult, responding to her on Twitter, asking her to not drink the Kool-Aid, which I think a Jim Jones reference in 2020 is great. I mean, say what you will about Jim Jones, but no one got up after his punch. I knew that would get Ben. I knew that would.
Yeah.
Despite returning on Raw several weeks ago and seeming like he was set to get a push, Mustafa Ali was not used on Raw last week, almost like they didn't even have a plan to begin with. Triple H has revealed the official theme song for NXT TakeOver 30, and it comes from Metallica. The game announced last Wednesday that the thrash metal icons Moth into Flame from SNM2 will be the theme song for the WWE Network event, which takes place August 22nd, because there is no better band to represent the next crop of talent for today's generation than a metal band from the 80s. In an interview with Newsweek, John Cena discussed WWE's new Raw Underground concept, describing it as an opportunity for performers to define. When asked if this opportunity excited John Cena to finally make his return to WWE programming, he just laughed and walked away. And last but not least, it appears success has been afoot for Brandy Rhodes launching the AEW Heels brand. Brandy Rhodes spoke about the massive success of the female-centric social media platform AEW Heels, which launched the other day, saying AEW Heels is a massive success overnight. We exceeded the numbers of memberships, signups necessary to continue to move the fan club onward and upward. Guys, does this mean that Al Snow is involved with this? I mean, she is head over heels.
No,
in all seriousness, though, I've heard these shoes are really versatile. I mean, you can wear them anywhere. I even heard one person was wearing them to dissect a frog. I mean, they're open-toed.
Oh.
Ben, you should actually wear one. I heard actually you could even help to improve your golf game. But if you're going to wear it for golfing, I would recommend, Ben, you get 2 pairs, in case you get a hole in one.
Oh.
Can I do one more? Just one more bad one.
Yeah,
right.
take them home.
The last one. You can even wear these heels. Hey, it's 2020. Guys can wear heels too. And guys, I've even heard, have worn them to go driving. They're called drag racers. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your Monday morning monologue.
Killed it. Probably my favorite one yet. That's Dr.
Fire.
McNailer. Awesome work. Big setups for those. There was a lot of setups that were tough to get through, but he brought it home on every one of them, man. Stuck the landing. So a great piece.
I'm just glad you got the popped on the Jim Jones one. When I wrote that one, I was like, Ben will like this one.
Oh my God, that was phenomenal, bro. I feel like I wrote that joke. That's how good it was. Fucking that was great, dude. A great feature here on your Monday locker room, exclusively the Monday morning monologue when you're not wanting to get back into the fucking trenches and you got to go back out there. At least we can kick your day off a little bit, whether you're listening to us around lunchtime or you're here live, twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman. Always a mood booster. And I thank you, Doctor, for that.
Absolutely. My pleasure. I try to channel my inner Hamin for the
sorry, just texting with Steve Areno real quick here. These are the Steves I know already this morning. Stevie Richards, Strangler Steve King from the Wednesday locker room, beating down my door with links to shake me up and all kinds of conspiracies going on here. So, it should be an interesting week here at Hamin Media Group across the board. Tomorrow night, when I usually would do the Impiz Act Wizzacha Lizong, I'm actually going on with Chris Lovins. I've hacked Chris Lovins from 2CW. He's a complete moron. It was easy to hack into the 2CW website. They left their password as Xsite sucks and with 2 X's, and it was easy for me to hack into that. So I'll be taking over the airwaves at 2CW tomorrow night, 8 p.m. live to let them all know that there will be no show. There's nothing. All the hope that they have will be crushed tomorrow. So if you want to tune in to watch some stupid morons, I'm sure it'll be on my Facebook page. I'll put it out on Twitter at @Ben_Hamin. But if you want to see some infidels really cry and be tortured tomorrow, 8 o'clock, 2CW gets taken over Hacker Hamin style.
I appreciate the bit love there, Fudge 420. I'm glad seemed to enjoy the drag racers joke. That one got my wife last night when I always do a preview for my wife. Usually she ignores and doesn't pay attention, but she popped on that one. So I was like, all right, I got to close with that.
Yeah, that's all good stuff, man. That was all good stuff right there. And people are just happy in the morning. I know that's one of the toughest things to do, getting out of the gate. But if you got to go to work, especially if you're not going to work, that can be just as fucked up too. I totally get it. it's tough times, and I'm glad that we can all bring our mood up together because of the work you're doing, man. Beast, thank you.
Well, it's up to all of us to bring each other up, and that's outside of the monologue too. I mean, that's all about the community that we're building here, and we're here to not only just shoot the breeze, but sometimes let off a little steam, and that's just part of the process.
Totally, man. So I'll shoot some steam this way, man. I know you got a lot of headlines, I'm sure, backed up or whatever's going on. What do you got? News, reviews, questions to post? Catch us up on some stuff before we get into it. What's up, bro?
Well, it said so much to talk about from that. What we got going on here with the HMG and then just around the world of professional wrestling. But to get things going here this morning, a bit of sad news, but a reason to celebrate a career and a life. Yesterday, some news breaking: the passing of James Harris, better known as the Ugandan Giant, Kamala, who passed away, I believe, 70 years old here. And really, looking back, most people are going to remember, the Ugandan Giant Kamala for those runs inside of the WWF, the runs against Hogan, Warrior, Andre the Giant, where those cases might be. But he really lived a diverse life inside of professional wrestling and away from it. Gentlemen, just want to kick off the conversation here with some memories that you had. I know, Ben, we kind of came up in the same area. You're a little bit ahead of me. I mean, this is right in the wheelhouse with probably one of the all-time best characters that we've seen in pro wrestling, and Beast a few years behind us. Might have caught him on maybe that last WWF run that he had.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when I was a kid, Kamala, a larger-than-life figure, and you see, and playing into all the stereotypes that are wrestling, and whether it's the face paint, the mask, the spear, the handler, that 1900s turn of the century Barnum and Baylor and the African warrior they brought over, to tour. So it is, in the 80s as tone deaf as they are now, really. But dude, the slapping of the stomach, the looks in the face and the things like that, very George the Animal Steel-esque, where the best acting we do, man, Beast, do you remember this? The best acting we do is when we say nothing at all. When we can do it with a look, when we can do it with, like, he would look at people and be inquisitive, the stuff with women, or what I mean, all that kind of stuff they did with Liz, right? That they all did. And it was a performance that was far different because he couldn't go on the mic just to get himself over, but he could work comedy. He could work vicious heel if he needed to. I always loved his chops and his come downs, and he always had good strikes, man, that were different from everybody else's. I liked his strikes. I liked Haku's. You'll see me steal a lot from Haku, Mongolian chop, Kane with a throat thrust, but good heel work that way. And then even when he was scared or on the cell from Jake the Snake or whatever, it was awesome too, man. Like that makeup on his face would, maybe influence Papa Shango down the road, but it would always enhance the look of whatever it was, the fear or, the viciousness, or just being the curious character that he was, being out of the Congo Ugandan giant, being out of there and not knowing what the world was like and being mystified by things. So even without ever saying anything, he had so much character to offer by saying nothing. And maybe we need to go back to that. I thought about this, even Orange Cassidy is somewhat mute, even though they broke that game. And there was a really good video where I broke it down this week. But what if somebody goes back to Charlie Chaplin days and does something that's completely without, whatever. And even their vignettes are all pre-taped, and they have an underscore underneath them a little bit. And they might even hold up a sign and they can write something down to somebody. But nobody's stealing from that era of, silent films. And there's so much great acting in there that they could take from as bits and turn that into wrestling stuff that would be fucking gold, man. So
careful though, you're going to have someone do a spot now as a mime and throw an invisible object to beat somebody here soon. And then we're all going to lose our shit over what the hell just happened.
Well, I would play the game out where they try and put them in a box. Yeah, you play it, and then they sell for it. Like, I got him in the box, and you just punch right through it, and no,
I like that.
You know what I mean? Like, play into it to draw them in and get your heat that way. So as long as we're not doing things that are burying a reality of mine where I'm actually trapped in, and the crowd's like, this is all, no, like, let's play the game, but I'm a heel and I'm going to like, help me get out, and he gets close and you wad him one, you know, like that's just the fun worlds of that. But yeah, some dumbass
pull up the white flag, did wave it around,
exactly, whatever, man, all that kind of stuff. Or, you know, even in a love scene, to watch somebody who's talking, a beautiful diva, be courted by somebody who's old school. Charlie Chaplin takes out the flower that's shitty out of his jacket, the handkerchief. There's all little things that we can show, don't tell, that instead of getting on the mic, and I'm way guilty of this, you'll hear me now, da, 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 and everything I say is, you know, like that can, if you hear that 7 segments in a row, whoever's in segment 8 or in the middle someplace who doesn't say anything is going to stick out way above everybody else because they can do it with show, don't tell. And Kamala the Ugandan Giant did that very, very well.
Very true. And the show don't tell, it's such a huge lesson that I think really anyone in entertainment can take from that. I almost wish we would have had Rip on this week instead of last week, because I will say something with Rip is he does not sugarcoat things, and there's very few wrestlers that he won't, you know, call their shit out on. But there are a few that, you know, that have earned his respect. And I remember Kamala, or Rip knew him as Sugar Bear Harris. You know, he always seemed to have a kind word to say about him. Apparently, he was I never had the privilege to meet him, but from what I've heard from Rip and from other guys that do him, apparently he was just a very genuine and a very sweet, passionate man.
You want me to call him? See if I can, if he'll just.
That's true. We can maybe randomly get him, see if he can tell a story.
Let's say, Big White, while you're picking him up there, it under the Sugar Bear and the Mississippi Mauler, you know, he traveled the world. I mean, he was working the outlaw shows here, going over to World Sport.
Yeah.
Hustler, you there? It's Pops.
Yeah.
You got a minute?
Yeah.
We're on air right now, Rip, live. We were just talking about Sugar Bear Kamala passing, and we were wondering if you wanted to maybe share. You always got such great stories, man. Something your favorite that way about him.
Okay. I met James, and I was wrestling for George and Gil Culkin. They ran the Mississippi territory. Watts didn't have it, and Leroy McGurk didn't have it, and they ran 6 nights a week with 5 regular towns. They did Vicksburg, Greenville, Greenwood, Gulfport, Biloxi, and Jackson. We worked those every week. It was me, Big Boy Williams, Rick Connors, and Izzy Slapowitz. We all stayed at a hotel. And when Kamala would get in a fight with his old lady, he'd come over and stay at our place. It'd be like one night he was supposed to win. He won $2,000 battle royal, right? Mm-hmm. Well, his old lady wasn't smart, so she goes out and starts buying tires and shit, right? And then what happened? He was Ugly Bear Harris there, and Izzy or Percy would slap him around and make fun of him all the time. So his old lady was going to beat his ass and everything, right? For not being a man. So he had to turn babyface and be Sugar Bear Harris. So that's what was happening there. Then he went off to he was in Knoxville, went off to England. Then he come back home, and Troy Hippie Graham, who was Troy T. Tyler, who was a Dream Machine in Memphis, and Kamala went to see Troy as they was close. We was in Mississippi all the time. We'd all meet at my fucking room and shoot shit and everything. And let's see, Jerry Lawler looked at him and like shit his pants, right? And he said, "Hey, come here." He said, he drew some shit on him, right? And he said, "Would you care if I put this makeup on you and stuff?" Make a long story short, Jerry Lawler invented Kamala when he saw him. He said, I don't want you to do any wrestling. I want you to just lumber, do this, whatever. And Kamala became a very big star, a very big money maker. And he was always one of the nicest guys in the world. Whenever we'd be in Watts' dressing room. Hey, Rip, you want some nachos? And I said, no, don't buy me no goddamn nachos, Jimbo. Well, I said, no. But he was just the nicest guy as could be. And I think a lot of people took advantage of him from being so goddamn nice.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a pleasure to be around. You could rib him all you want. He'd rib you back. And he was a huge guy.
Yeah.
You know. And he was real coordinated too. But he was, told not to wrestle and do limited things and shut up and make money. So that's what he did. But like when we would go in watches and stuff, he always had Friday driving him around. It was different guys for Friday, but he never dressed. He usually didn't dress the dressing room. He'd come in like the front door when it was time for his match. And people would actually run from him. Like it was Bruiser Brody in Japan, except he wasn't swinging no chain. People were scared to death of him.
Mm-hmm. We were saying that earlier, Rip. The fact of the makeup enhanced the facial reactions of what he would do, whether it was looking inquisitive or being scared of Jake the Snake and things like that. He did so much facially, not just the belly slapping, which was funny and get people going in the 80s and 70s, but the fact that he didn't speak, that even his handler, like he would do so much show don't tell just with emotion on his face, possibly more than any wrestler except for maybe George the Animal Steel, with that they're kind of cut from the same cloth that way. And I'm trying to think of anybody now that does a gimmick like that, almost like a Charlie Chaplin talkies type thing where there is no speech for him. He's got to do it all show don't tell.
That's what I was going to say. It was like he's like a silent movie.
Yeah.
When he'd turn that head and look, then he'd open those eyes and stuff, and the baby face was making it come back, and he'd never leave his feet till that one big time. They'd have to work to make that sumbitch go down.
Yep.
But he took that gimmick, and it was Lawler's idea, but he took that sumbitch and ran with it, made a lot of money with it. So that was cool.
Well, we appreciate you, Rip, picking up the phone, man, when we just call on a whim. I know I didn't give you the Iggy, but a lot of people were loving your appearance last week here on the Locker Room. So just wanted to say thanks for all that knowledge. Hopefully everybody's going out there and getting the book on professional wrestling, the Hustler Rip Rogers book, available on Amazon. Yeah.
On sale now at goddamn Amazon, right?
I think Ben. Oh.
It don't get any better than that.
Go ahead, RBV.
Before we let Rip go here, I think we got to ask him about, his boy McAfee cutting probably the promo of the year over on ESPN for professional wrestling this past week on First Take. I picked up on it because Rip himself shared it on Twitter.
Well, that motherfucking Pat, he did a 3-hour goddamn stand-up by himself, just talking. And this son of a bitch gets the microphone. You can't set that motherfucker up, He's just so motherfucking good. And in the goddamn ring, he's a fucking natural. And I got mad because I said he got so much shit on his plate. You know what I mean? You're going to look up and he's on College Game Day, then he's guest for fucking Monday Night Football and something else and this and that. And all of a sudden he's on ESPN, the sports, or whatever the fuck, right? And hell, he's got such a crossover appeal. And he's a natural goddamn heel no matter what, which is fucking awesome. You know what I mean? And the subject can back it up too. He just forgets. He's just so big. This motherfucker's so busy having the time of his fucking life. All he ever wanted to do is be a goddamn fucking wrestler, which is fucking awesome. So go get him, just fucking go do what the fuck. And I tell him, look, fuck everybody else. You're living your goddamn fucking dream, and everybody loves you till you start doing better than them. They got all this fucking confidence in you, or they wouldn't be doing it to begin with. You're a fucking freak, you know, fucking all-American goddamn soccer player, fucking punter of the decade in the NFL. He didn't punt in fucking college. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Holy shit. This is how coordinated that motherfucker was. But the best thing about him is his goddamn mouth. So he's going to have a hell of a fucking time. Hell, he just got goddamn married, was coming home yesterday. So he got a lot of shit to do, and then a lot of pressure on him, but he'll just fucking laugh and do what the fuck he wants to do.
Absolutely. And one other thing, Rip, I know RBV wasn't really sticking to his diet this weekend and his workout plan. So if you could promo him on being a big fat cocksucker to get him motivated, I think that our fans would love that.
Well, here's the thing, though. When he's going to, when I tell somebody, hey, when you're going to go on a diet or whatever, right, you want to take the before and after picture. But before you take that before picture, you want to eat as much shitty food you can the first 3 days and get as much water in you and be as bloated as you can so you can have the shittiest before picture as you can get. And then we do the after picture. It's all fucking smoke and mirrors, right?
Yeah.
So he'll do fine. He was just pigging out because he's getting, like I said, the best time to go on a diet is either next week or January 1st. So he's starting this fucking week. He's going to kick ass, and then we'll just congratulate him when he gets to the top 10 in the Olympia. So what the fuck, right?
That'd be great. His first goal is just to be able to look down and see the worm again. So we got a couple weeks of work to get to that.
Well, you know, all he's got to do is lose that motherfucking belly, and that son bitch might be goddamn John Holmes. You not even fucking know it. He might be that human motherfucking hammer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oxen hammer. Give him to them both.
Yeah.
Well, Ripper, we love you, and thanks for picking up the phone to talk a little bit and give us history and memories of Kamala, man. We just wanted to pay respect and you know, unfortunate loss as always when any legend that we grew up with goes.
Yeah.
So, but we love you, Rip, and thank you so much, man.
Well, I just got home from the gym.
Of course.
I just ate something. I turned the lights down low, got a little soft music on, getting ready to tease myself, a little bit of lotion here and there.
You've earned
and we'll see if we can hit 3 shots at age 66.
All right.
All right. We're going for the record today. Awesome.
There you go, and then you die. Have a good one, boys.
Later, Ripper.
Hey, Stevens.
Fucking love it, man.
Excellent.
Love the fucking guy, dude. I don't know what else I can say. 2 weeks in a row just picks up. And to be honest with you, these things do as much for Rip as they do for us, you know. And you see how plugged in. When I tell you apply to Hamin Media Group 5-star search challenge, you're that close to me, to Rip, to Pat McAfee, to NXT. Like, this is the circles you travel in if once you get to this level. And it's once you're there, it's not like, oh, you're going to get this gig or the other. But when the stars start to align, or when there's a job at WWE, guess who's might be at the top of the pile? You know, somebody who's got the guys behind them, and somebody who says, hey, this dude said Rip or that, and they asked McAfee, then what? You know, like, not that we're here to stooge off people's business and ruin kayfabe for TV, but who do you think helped get him to that point? That man right there.
Well, I think it's also to give a little understanding and background on what's going on, so that way having that context kind of gives you a different appreciation for when you do get to see the stuff going on with McAfee and Adam Cole on the screen, that you kind of at least have that background. Because on the surface, you know, you may have a different opinion of how you think McAfee is or is going to be, but in actuality, there's more going on behind the scenes and more, you know, to it than what it may seem.
I forgot he was a soccer player till he put that over right there, to be honest with you. Yeah, I knew it, but I had forgotten. Man, not much more I can do for you there, RBV. Even you didn't even get promoted, called a fat cocksucker or nothing. Just straight up, Rip's having a good day. He wanted to show some love.
2 weeks in a row, put over by the Hustler. How can I argue that?
You can't drop the ball now. You're fucking...
I thought when Rip was going into the diet stuff, he was going to tell there's an Ultimate Warrior story he always would say. Apparently he was super, obviously look at him. He was apparently super duper on the diet. So what he would do instead of eating sweets, because he apparently had a sweet tooth, he would go to the buffet, go over to the desserts and smell all the desserts so he could have an understanding of how they tasted. And then that was enough to satisfy him. And I'm like, man, that would drive me crazy. I couldn't do it.
Torture, bro.
Right. But apparently that's what he did. That was his thing. And that's what gave him the satisfaction of the dessert without actually eating it. I was like, wow.
Do you think you get down there over him and you go
and then the chef's like, I guess we got to make more.
Maybe it was just the fact that he was doing so much blow at the time too. He could actually snort a piece of key lime pie if he needed to, right off the fucking gimmick.
That's true.
I'm just picturing now the self-reflection from Average Joe's. What is it? What's the dodgeball movie? Dodgeball. Whatever. He's getting the pizza down his pants and all that.
Oh yeah, exactly, dude. It's tough. It's tough to stay on it. But that's what we do with RBV Diet and Stevie Richards Fitness .com. We're trying to put in the reps that we can. We know you got your summer sweets that when you're at camp or wherever you're going out to enjoy something, not to say you can't, but that just means I got to work my fat ass off twice as harder today to make sure I don't get any more hate mail coming in from my Instagram. So, but y'all, man, let's get to some news and views aside from the remembrance of Kamala. Rest in peace, brother.
Well, BC, you had mentioned Jim Jones there earlier. An individual that's not leading the People's Church, but he certainly is drinking the Kool-Aid, is Seth Rollins. As in a recent interview with the Gorilla Position podcast, Seth went on to say that today's fans lack patience for slow burn storytelling. That is where he's kind of pointing the finger of why we get such rush creative. Just a few of his thoughts here. Pull it up here. Although I have been careful to craft my character, nothing has been perfectly planned out for months in advance, Rollins revealed. There has been no timetable on how things are going to go. Rollins then explained why. This is why they don't have everything in advance. Slow burn storytelling is a lost art today, not just in wrestling, but across all entertainment platforms. In the age of instant gratification, audiences don't have the patience for long-term storytelling. When you can binge watch your favorite series in 2 days as opposed to 2 months, it creates different precedents in how we intake our entertainment. Ben.
Bull fucking shit. That's bullshit. That the Netflix binge excuse, it doesn't. That's apples and bowling balls. Fucking that doesn't one line up for the other. If I binge something and they're an hour show, it's because I'm way entertained by the long-term storyline business, and they are pulling me in. He is giving his audience full power to dictate that which is an excuse. It's bullshit. The real reason is they aren't writing TV with a fucking ending and writing backwards 8 weeks to let that character, grow. So he doesn't know where he's going. And he says he's puts time into his character. How can you if you don't know where your journey is going to be? So you can ratchet it up every week. So the Netflix binge thing is a bullshit excuse, because if I binge something and it's 16 fucking, if it's 2 seasons, 16 episodes or whatever, that's 16 hours I just dedicated to the fucking watching that because they pulled me in. I would do that same thing if I was a wrestling fan by doing quality long-term business, but he's letting it go as an excuse. Now let's look at his fucking brilliant character that he's put so much time in. He calls himself the Messiah because he half looks like CrossFit Jesus, and they want to get that back over. Meanwhile, he's got the man's man thing with the wife, and they don't do Mary Magdalene or nothing while they're trying to do Jesus with that. They just fucking write it off. And they don't even do nothing Jesus-wise with her getting pregnant, which is the whole fucking id of Jesus's storyline with the Immaculate Conception. So that's out the fucking window. Instead, he takes his wife, his girlfriend's 2 sizes too small leather jacket with fringe fur on it, and comes down with no shirt on and looks like a total douchebag. Jesus would have got crucified way earlier if he was walking around in that stupid ass jacket in fucking Jerusalem. So, then he decides to go to, okay, well, I'm going to wear skinny suits and try and be kind of David Miscavige. This is on the heels of him wearing the black glove, trying to be half mafia too. So before we even went into the fucking Jesus thing, he was half mobster, the black hand, El Mano Negro, of whatever they were trying to do. He has no clue about what they wanted to do. And they put AOP with him. Then they switch out Murphy and Austin Theory. Austin Theory gets suspended. Murphy is now molested Murphy. I don't know what he is. Like, he's just to take a hit for him. Meanwhile, Seth finally gets the entrance and the everything to back up what would be his character if we did invest any time in it. What, 12, 16 weeks into the Messiah thing? Now we just get it. And like, there's no Brother Love reinvention of a pulpit. There's no pre-tape thing of like the 700 Club. There's no laying hands on people like Benny Hinn. There's no drink the Kool-Aid like Jim Jones. There's none of these fucking things. Right when we come out with a Netflix David Koresh thing, we don't do any of that shit. No polygamy, no bigamy, no big love. Like, none of the things that people are conditioned to that you could steal from and really put it into. He's just saying, nah, we don't know week to week, so I'm just putting time into my character. He's not. He's not putting the time in to make it believable from week to week. His stuff with Dominic is probably closest to the best thing that he's done in this whole run of like 3 to 4 months. And that's pretty pathetic because it's still pretty mailed in and third rate at this time compared to where it could have been. And then they go to the back to cut promos to get his character over. Where's the fucking set and the lighting? We have a week to do this stuff, and we're not on the road doing house shows. We're not out production. We're not out doing all this shit. Why is there not a 700 Club thing with stacks of mail? Like when that fucking, I didn't even know the dude's name, the creepy dude from 700 Club, but or Benny Hinn, they will sit behind a fucking pallet of mail that they probably wrote and made it look that way all themselves. But it looks like people are writing in from, you know, Borneo to fucking Uganda to Australia to send him $20 for the ministry. Seth just needs a little answer segment like that where he opens a mail and gives some fucking piece of advice at home, and I would make it the worst piece of advice, like opposite of what you should do to get him more heat. But we have him standing in front of the old fucking boogeyman, you know, mats with worms on them from OVW Beast that they ship down there, and they're still fucking sitting on a shelf with some old ring posts and ring ropes that fucking Amish Roadkill made in 2007. And that's supposed to be our Messiah segment. No one gives a shit about getting their own creative over. If he really did, he would go timeout. He's a how many time champ, Triple H's boy, a darling of the company. He would go, I want somebody to build me at least a minimalist set like Firefly Funhouse to help get this character over. There's no music, no fucking organ music underneath, nothing. It's so lazy and mailed in. And then we get this stupid ass excuse to try and put it over when the reality is nobody's protecting their own business. That's a huge rant, but whatever, dude. Enough of wasting 4 months on getting nothing out of this character.
Well, to that point, I don't know if I could say much to counteract that. I'll say the first thing I will say is the one point I do agree with Seth on is that story building and slow burn is a dying art, but the rationale that he gave, and this is where correlation does not equal causation. I mean, he tries to point to how society has Netflix and has been watching. Well, there's lots of great quality content that people binge watch that is all story building and character building. I know this because my wife and I watch a lot of them. How popular was Game of Thrones? Half of it was the characters, getting to know them and the kingdoms and what's going on. Trying to think of all the shows I'm watching now between Sons of Anarchy and Homeland, Better Call Saul. I mean, there's tons of shows out there where it's a lot of slow burn character building. So to me, that is not to your point. It's just an excuse. It's trying to place the blame on something that actually is not the blame. And with Seth Rollins, I think it comes down to, I think he is incredibly talented as an in-ring performer. That being said, I don't think he has ever found himself as a character as far as who is Seth Rollins. He came in with the Shield and broke off, and it seems like every time maybe he gets a little bit of traction, he switches it up, almost like it's a sense of, and I can say this as someone that has ADD, it's almost like having ADD, like, okay, this isn't really getting over, now I'm going to switch and do this. Now I'm going to switch and do this. It's like before he has a chance to really build anything, it's almost like he's trying to change it up, and it's like,
what do you mean?
You don't ever get a sense of who Seth is ever.
What do you mean? He was CrossFit Jesus, he was the architect, He was the King Slayer. He's the
Right.
Beast Slayer. He's
Exactly.
the Messiah. Like, how many
bounces?
Stupid monikers and restarts? That's the same reason Sasha Banks isn't over. These stupid little monikers that they put. Iowa's Own. Oh, that was a fucking brilliant. That's going to sell T-shirts all over the world. Iowa's Own. Let's print money with that dog shit. Like,
Juggo might buy one.
I think Jargo has those.
I think he's the only one. It's just it's ridiculous, bro. Like that they want to keep force feeding us this. And in ring, sure, he can get it done, but at the same time, he also injured a lot of people trying to go into biz for himself. They wanted him to be Triple H light. They pushed it to the moon. It didn't get to where they wanted it to go. They don't want anybody to be a level of star like that. And he's a perfect example of a factory system dude. They plucked from ROH. They put 3 guys together who were indie dudes, and well, 2 of them were, and 1 is from nepotism, and none of them could work that well or cut the best promo. So put them together. Joey Mercury did great job coaching them and making them look great as the Shield and making them cool. But once they split off and it's time to shine, they were all ill-prepared. Roman Reigns never got over. Moxley's doing the rock back, no sell, clothesline off the rope match 150 times, and Seth is injuring Sting and whoever else I hear. It was damn doomed from the start because the foundation of how to do character and how to be somebody was never there. What was he doing before that? Doing run-up backflips off of fat guys in the corner at ROH at a house show. Like, that is not going to get you to the level of being an Academy Award-winning delivery like The Rock. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to get you to that point, dude. So, like you said, this is all lip service for bad creative and bad execution from a talent who could be there if he had the right people in his ear and the right training from the get-go. Instead, he's WWE politics personified, pretty much.
Now, Beast, throughout your career, you have portrayed a number of different personas. Can you talk a little bit about what it takes to kind of dive into that deep end to prepare yourself for taking on these different roles, to really just embody them?
It really comes down to getting to know yourself as a character and playing and turning up the volume all the way up to 10. And people don't really have a chance to get emotionally invested in you as a character until they can have an understanding and have that empathy of knowing who you are and what your intentions are and why you do the things that you do. I have no idea why Seth Rollins does the things that he does. And part of that is I feel like every time, like we just talked about, he kind of goes towards one direction and one type of character. It's switching it up, and it never gives any rationale or reason for someone watching at home to continue to invest their hard-earned time and energy into someone that they don't really have an understanding of what their intentions are. Does that make sense, or am I rambling on?
Well, you're right on it, bro.
Absolutely.
And that's where it's not his fault. It's not my fault.
To a degree, yeah.
Yeah, because they don't have, okay.
To a degree, because he could also take some time and really, and try to really get behind and invest himself in this character and say, no, I want to continue to toe this line and not keep switching it up. But
wrestling and coming out and putting your arms out like Jesus does not get you over. You want to get over, you have to recruit people. Let's say, all right, we're stealing from David Miscavige this week. So what is weird about Scientology? The Sea Org, that they dress people in these fucking fake Navy costumes, that they make them sit in a room and get audited where they pretty much have to tell all of their secrets like a confessional booth, except Scientologists write it down. So 4 years later, they can fucking blackmail you with it when you're done paying the $100,000 for their fucking materials. And you see that you're nothing more than mind slave. Then they go, oh, if you fucking leave, we're going to talk about the time, your uncle touched you or whatever the fuck. Right. So like, let's see the auditing process WWE done where Seth is getting somebody we never did that with Buddy Murphy, Austin Theory. We never did that with any of those guys. That's the shit that gets you over. Britt Baker is now getting over in AEW, not because when she was wrestling, her wrestling was mediocre at best, shine shimmer level stuff. Now she's hurt because of the shitty girls wrestling there, and her and Rebel doing tiny character bits every week has made her one of the top stars that you want to see in AEW. Hasn't been in the ring in 8 weeks. Take a fucking hint. Give us the Benny Hinn thing, the fire on you. And that's when Kevin Owens can then expose that Seth doesn't have a healing power and that, they're all just laying out and all this type of shit. Like, we didn't get any of that. They can't even steal anything that is already written. How about if they really wanted to go comedy even with it, there's the whole new show on, I think it's on HBO. It's all about like a Southern Baptist evangelical with, what's his name? Dan Connor, John Goodman, and a bunch of people from Improv Olympic, Danny McBride. Like, this shit is right there. And their amazing writing staff of 28 people can't choose. Big Love, Scientology, that, and fucking Benny Hinn and Right TV. Dude, we could have that. We could have a year's amount of TV done for him by the time this Monday locker room is over with just the 3 men we have sitting right here. There's no excuse for it.
I was going to say, not to mention just the relevance of that character in today's society, being a holier than thou, standing up for, what's righteous and true. You know what I mean? And what a great way to get heat during a time when there's bigger issues and bigger things for people to worry about of more importance. But Seth Rollins is about how he is the one with the one true message and trying to talk about what's righteous, and maybe even, with all the scandals and everything. And this is where WWE tends to steer away from what's really going on in the world rather than towards it. But to your point, Ben, I think there's opportunity for story to be told when you relate things to what's going on in the world. So I feel like when like the wrestling scandals went down, Seth Rollins, that was a perfect opportunity. Well, I'm going to clean up the world of wrestling one by one. And he starts pulling people in management aside, and I want you to confess your sins. And, and he, bullies them into, breaking down, how they are as people. And, it's like, man, this guy's really messed up in the head. What's, to really start getting under the skin of people.
Imagine style-wise, too, Beast, if we shot it. Here's what I'm thinking I would do. You got those little weird claustrophobic interview room that is as plain as can be, maybe with a picture of him on it and some other people, whatever, or some mantra on the wall. And it always starts with a shot on Seth. You've got one of those audit machines, and then the camera has to come around, and every time you don't know who it's going to be, where Seth asks him, and then you get some real stooge off, like, backstage where somebody buried somebody else in reality and they're admitting it to Seth. And we're like, oh shit. Like these admissions that are juicy that they don't think the camera's in there, or we even have a fake camera. So the person admitting stuff thinks they're not being taped and it's not wrestling. And then Seth uses that for blackmail against them later, just like a David Miscavige does for thousands and thousands of people. And then you can use Murphy and AOP, how Miscavige and Scientology does, to intimidate people, to fucking, say, you're going to come with us. You're not going to go that way. But, dude.
I would even say he could utilize his muscle to his advantage. Like, if you want to borrow Seth's muscle, then you need to confess your sins. And then that's where he gets the blackmail video that he can use later. Okay, you want help, I'll help you, but I need you to confess your sins first. And that's where he gets the dirt on people and kind of manipulates the situation for his power and his control.
Yeah, well, shout out Gorilla Position for getting a high level interview. I don't know. I know Ryan came home and
that's the Gorilla Position. This was just the Gorilla Position podcast.
Oh,
so okay. No affiliate between the two.
Well, shout out to those guys regardless.
I know Ryan. He doesn't mess with the garbage interviews like that. He's looking for that traditional style journalism. So he wouldn't be touching this thing with a 10-foot pole. Let's shift gears here to some individuals that absolutely get how to portray their personas and they understand the importance behind the character work. That being Chris Jericho and Jim Cornette, stirring up a little heat here on a Twitter beef. Jericho took to Twitter and said that he wants to ban Jim Cornette from watching future AEW Dynamite and Dark episodes. Jericho tweeted out, I am officially banning @the Jim Cornette from watching any and all future episodes of @AEW Dynamite and AEW Dark. He is under @AEW Wrestling suspension until further notice. Thank you. #DemoGod. So in response to that, before Jim Cornette could get anything out, the great Brian Last, who is Jim's co-host for the Drive-Thru and the Experience, he replied on Twitter to Jericho. Pull up the quote here. Brian Last's full tweet was as the following: Looks like Jericho started early today. He probably should have waited until after I released tomorrow's episode. Let's see, it moved on me. Episode of The Drive-Thru, where we talk about how stupid he is for playing concerts during the pandemic. P.S. We don't watch the shitty YouTube show. That was last's response. And then just as we were heading on air here, I found a response from Jim Cornette himself. Chris, I can appreciate your consideration of my sanity, but I do it as a service to the wrestling fans. They need some measure of comfort in these cosplays times we're living in. But don't worry, I never watch Dark. P.S. Be out there careful drooling over bikers. Obviously, as Cornette is regularly, he's one of those, just as you do, Ben. When there's praise to be given, it will be distributed. When there's something that needs to be broken down, something that needs corrected, he will. But as you do yourself, maybe not the most delicate of verbal lashings that you'll lay onto him. So he can be pretty harsh on them. The AEW fans, they don't have very thick skin, so they kind of take great offense to it here. Obviously, this is just tremendous play between two old friends.
Can you back up and say what his co-host said again?
Brian Last's quote. Let's see here. Brian Last, full tweet as following. Looks like Jericho started early today. He probably should have waited until after the release of tomorrow's Drive-Thru, which is one of Cornette's shows, where we talk about how stupid he is, that being Jericho, is for playing concerts during a pandemic. We don't watch the shitty YouTube show. And that's it. Essentially, what would happen there is Fozzy was actually playing at the Sturgis bike rally that's going on. And that's also out there in the general news, as you've got, over 250,000 are expected to roll through this thing, no pun intended, roll through this thing over the course of the week. And there's already outrage over, if they're going to participate in social distancing, if they're going to be properly wearing masks. So they're kind of playing into that. And Fozzy themselves, they're out regularly touring in addition to making a stop at Sturgis. How they're scheduled to be here, I believe, in September, just right up the road from where I'm recording at.
Beast, go ahead before I light it up.
Well, no, you're probably going to go off on what the actual story is. To me, the takeaway I took is, man, Jim Cornette's host is all about boasting his chest out and trying to get all hot. You notice how Cornette's response was much more, I guess, collegial towards Jericho, because they've always had kind of a colleague type relationship from way back in the day when they worked together. But like Jim Cornette's host had to get all high and mighty with the shitty comments, like he was trying to get over on Jericho, which I was like, that was the part that I'm like, geez.
That's why I had him reread it, bro.
Yeah. I was like,
I think Brian Lash is a good fucking co-host. I like the way he sets things up for Cornette, but right here, he fucked up. Shut the fuck up. If any of my fucking producers go at any veteran, especially Jericho, where they think they can talk, and I'll tell us any Hamin media producer right now, you're fucking gone. My guys know better than that. If you never paid a fucking due in the ring, if you're not known, if you fucking haven't put it in the time, I don't give a fuck if you're a punter or not. You don't get to slap balls like you fucking run this business because now you're with Cornette and you've been that. That is number one. And Cornette would cut your throat for this too at OVW. Way too comfortable in the locker room. Doesn't know your role, where the fuck you are in this type of shit, dude. I've never seen a Joe Feeney, John Paz, or Chad and fucking Shane Douglas's guys, my guys, go out after anybody like that. And when it fucking does happen, when a pundit does go at a Disco Inferno or somebody, usually doesn't work too good for them because they haven't fucking paid the dues to be able to chop wood, carry water in this business, and have the respect of their peers. You're in it because you're on the fringe as a producer and co-host. You didn't put in the road miles. You don't know where you might think you know where the bodies are buried, but you weren't there when the fucking murder was done like the rest of us. So for anybody who is the crossover of a fanboy to producer to be hooked with somebody in the business and hit your wagon to them, to come and talk shit to a legend that way, and not like he said anything too crazy, but just the tone of it, you can hear it. You know what I mean? And I haven't seen that from that guy before. So might need to take a lesson here and fucking understand that you shut the fuck up and you shut the fuck up. That's for Cornette. If they wanted to strike back, I'm not going to lash out for Russo and fucking get my shit in. Even as a dude who's a worker who has my own opinions, my own media company, I'm not going to fucking put his brand at risk by being a representative that way and going at somebody. Fuck that noise. That's a very like, ooh boy, we're headed down what could happen in these rapids pretty quickly. And believe me, that dude will be the first one to get his throat cut because he's collateral damage. He doesn't have any power over anybody to be doing that kind of shit. Like, I like that dude as a co-host. I think he's got a lot of good points, but way too comfortable in the locker room with that commentary back, bro. Definitely. And if any of my producers ever did that, whoo boy. Good.
Well, that's a good point to make, because we are doing the 5-star star search, and certainly, whoever wins this contest will probably find themselves at some point doing an interview or having some kind of interaction with people that are in the rest. This is where, it is more than okay. Oh, am I Skyping out here?
You're all right now.
Go out for a second. Okay. To that point, I was just going to say, you're going to potentially find yourself, and so just it comes down to knowing your role, and it's okay to ask questions and to try to find more information. It's a whole other thing to go and attack someone for somebody else or on behalf of somebody else. That's where you're going to find yourself in trouble more often than not. It's best to take the lesson that we say all the time and don't miss a great opportunity to shut the fuck up.
Yep. Well, here's the thing. Fudge for 20 says, it's just funny as hell that Jericho banned him from watching the show. LOL. Here's the real truth. Now that he's got a little heat and a little shine on him whatsoever, that'll go to his head. And Jericho banning him, guess what Cornette and him are going to do this week? They're going to watch every little second of Being the Elite, Dark, and AEW Dynamite to see if there's a little shot at them in there, which there absolutely should be. So when they try and be all high and mighty, we don't watch that fucking bullshit. They're going to be the first ones to mark out this week and watch it to see if their name gets dropped in something that way. And then they'll sell for it, killing the fucking high and mighty of, we don't watch that bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, that's how easy it is to expose the mark side of workers, pundits, all that kind of shit when they want to go high end. He gave Jericho all the ground on a gift right there. There's no doubt about it, dude.
I almost wonder if that's the reason why it took so long for Cornette to respond, because he knew the bait that Jericho's throwing out there. And Beast, as you had mentioned, these two go way back. It was Cornette that brought the thrill seekers down from Canada to Smoky Mountain. And opened up all, the opportunity there for Jericho and Storm as it, pertained to the States in wrestling. And you got to believe these guys are such old friends. There's still that great deal of respect, even if they don't see eye to eye on modern wrestling. Hell, I could see at some point, maybe not where Cornette is going to, do anything with AEW per se, but absolutely could cross, some kind of cross promotion with him on Jericho's podcast or vice versa.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll do the cross, man. I think that's just too much for the Tony Khan and them to, like, after the Cornette NWA stuff, the Cornette sex stuff, allegations, that'd be a foolish move for them to cross over.
But we even had the story that there was heat for FTR for going on Cornette.
Sure, but that's them before they showed up, being marks and him trying to work. Dude, Cornette's in the mob. So's Jericho. Guess who's not in the mob? His co-host. So the fact that he might have said something, now Cornette's got to get a strategy. But the reality is Cornette and Jericho are texting like old buddies behind the scenes while this shit's going on, dude. So, like, it can look like one thing in front and it can be something else. I put supreme trust in my staff on a lot of things to, like, go forward, young men, and toe the line. And then MSG knows a lot of what I'm doing. And then we'll have meetings and I'll go, and there's 5-6 things you don't even know about that I can't tell you. So don't worry about it. Let's just focus on this. And then something will be revealed to him 2 or 3 weeks down the road. And he's like, wow, I thought I wasn't, we have these moments, but that's me being protecting what I got to protect. Not that I just want to keep him ignorant to try and play him, but ignorance is bliss in a lot of things. And don't stress,
especially as things haven't even played out yet, because it might be a thing where things are coming together, details are being worked out, and when you stooge things too early, then the telephone game starts to happen, and then something in conversation happens, and I'm not saying MSG is actually, he's great at maintaining not stooging things off, but I'm just using him as an example. But let's say MSG does get that piece of information you really didn't want him to know, or he really didn't need to know yet, and someone else brings up something that makes him think about that, and he goes, "Oh, I heard from Ben XYZ," and then that plan isn't hashed out yet, but the next person thinks, "Oh, this must be going on," something else that isn't really going on, and then that's how things can spiral out of control. People are like, "Oh, what's going on behind our backs?" And in actuality, it was none of that. It was people are stooging off things before all the information was out yet, and so that's usually a lot of the reason why things aren't stooged off, or why we keep it under our hats. It isn't because we're trying to keep some kind of crazy secret from getting out. It's more so the details haven't been hashed out yet, and you don't want people to assume something too early when it hasn't been worked out in the front end.
And in wrestling, that's all people want to do is create drama out of nothing. So you can't fucking give them that opportunity to do that. And that's just part of the crazy bullshit that we love, why it is drama over some fake, phony fucking wrestling. But I don't know, man. I hope that dude doesn't act like he's over, because I think he's a great co-host and I think he does good setups. But that message to me, Beast, forget about whatever else was going on with the Jericho stuff. That's where I was like,
okay, I'm glad I wasn't the only one. Yeah, to me, the story was what the co-host said, so I'm glad I was the only one thinking that.
Yeah, Big Eagle Pops wants to know why I haven't dropped the bomb on AEW's Khan's money that deep. I don't need to, like, that's a bad thing to do in wrestling. Like, if I know something and I can allude to it thinking that it's going to happen and then it doesn't, that shows that, yeah, I got a stooge, and we know where like, it's telephone game. I got it I got my information 2 telephone calls away directly from AEW office. So from people I know. So it's very vetted and very believable. And I might say I know some interesting shit, and Rick doesn't know what I know. I've kept him in the dark. Beast might know a little bit, but like,
you keep me in the dark on things too, and I don't mind. It's part of it.
Is I'm not gonna and I'll tease it so people are like, ooh, what is it? Maybe me teasing it will set things in motion. But if it doesn't, I'm not gonna come back and go, hey, listen to the stooge I got, and this person should be fired because this, that, and the other. There's no other way quicker to cut your own fucking throat than do that. That's the worst thing you can do. If I think some things are going a certain way and then they get favored because somebody out politics and they do whatever, okay, it's not my time yet. I'll sit in the back. Oh, you knew about Dave Lagana being a sexual pervert and fucking stooge? Yeah, I've known it for about a fucking decade. Oh, you tried to get over and he tried to fucking make you dance and do all this bullshit and power play? Yeah, he did. So I said, fuck off, and I went silent because I know the pain is coming for him. I don't need to be the one to inflict it right away. The end is coming. He's out of this business forever. So I'll sit back for 6 months and watch it fucking all unfold. And then if he tries to stick his head out like whack-a-mole again, then I can unload with the 3 or 4 other things that we fucking know on him and drive him down. But I'm not going to come out and just unload your ammo in the beginning of a fucking war. You're done. This is more Cold War stuff than anything in this fucking business. So it's not that I want to keep things from our fans and whatnot, but I'm also not going to put things in motion that will put my future and my staff's at jeopardy. That's a foolish way to be.
Well, for the longest time, going back to the roots of the Hamin Media Group, so many people asked us, why don't we get involved or launch our own kind of news dirt sheet system? And that's exactly why we stayed away from such things.
Yeah, absolutely. To get into it, because we could burn a lot of, I could get the real news every day if we wanted to switch and pivot to that. But now I'm burning my friends, fucking up their business, like at the expense of what? For the marks who want a dirt sheet so I can try and get some retribution on WrestleZone. That's not what I want to focus and waste my time on at the end of the day. That is just short-sighted, I think, as opposed to a longer-term build on something. So, yeah, man.
Well, Ben, let's talk about, is that opening up to smarks, marks, whatever, just, to kind of pop that chubby on the dirt sheets. Let's transition. That's kind of been an MO for AEW and some of the management there. And our next headline here is Cody Rhodes, who speaks out about why his wife, Brandy, actually shut down her social media. This comes on, just after, obviously, as Beast was mentioning there earlier, in-house, the tremendous success for the Heels program, which is an initiative to target women for pro wrestling marketing. But there was a lot of people, immediately, I guess people were going at Brandy as maybe they didn't believe that this was the right approach for them, such and so forth here. She shut down her Twitter account, I believe maybe some other social media. Well, Cody has spoken out here and said the reasoning behind that, leaving a social media app because you open your phone to an absurd amount of N-bombs is respectfully understandable. No place for that. So apparently she was under attack, just people, going at her with racial attacks. In another little follow-up story, news bit on this thing as well, you've got the Young Bucks. They had recently spoke out why they left social media in late 2019, and it was because of personal attacks from these so-called fans. And it got to a point where they were actually going to Google Maps and screenshotting shots of the Bucks households where the family was out with these live shots and then sending it to the Bucks that they felt the need that they just had to remove themselves. Does this speak even going back last week, when we had asked him about social media and creative strategies and all that, and he said, this is what you get when you create a culture where you're letting these marks, the fan base dictate your business. I mean, go ahead. Go ahead, Beast.
Oh, I was going to say, I mean, that part I'm not necessarily in disagreement with, and that's where I don't follow Twitter as closely as I probably should. But I mean, I certainly would think, if that is truly what was going on, then I certainly don't blame her. But it also makes me wonder, what was getting people riled up to start tweeting at Brandy. Like, I don't know. And I'm not saying, certainly that's the usage of that word towards anyone of color is never, ever justified. But it also, I can't help but wonder if there was something said or done that maybe incited people to start lashing out at her. And that's where I don't know. I'm truly just asking.
I think it was a variety of reasons. I think maybe one really came down to AEW really monetizing on this movement. I think it's a pretty hefty price tag, $50. They thought they were maybe trying to exploit a certain bit of the fan base. I think there was also some in there from exclusion from other parts of the fan base. All in all, this is one of those cases, to me, when you're overly inviting a certain group in, they're just going to eventually turn on you themselves and attack you from all different angles.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack here. So the dick pics and why are your DMs open? There's number one. Why are your DMs open if you're a star? Number two is the SJWs will turn and eat each other. And I think the N-bomb stuff may be true, but I think that's a cover, as a get out. Based on the other stuff I had heard and them her wanting to get off social media because of it, I don't know if she can, because she claims to be a marketing expert and whatnot, but we can't stop taking pictures of ourselves in bikinis and then you wonder why you're getting dick pic stuff. Do you not see how one directly influences the other? You're putting out a message, respect me as a businesswoman, but here, zoom in on a pinch zoom on my ass on Instagram every other day in a bikini. Like that is this generation's disconnect of reality, bro. Like they, and you can see more Rizzats, more problems on Man Beast's name. You might get to the swinger thing. He's not allowed to say Rizzats anymore because somebody complained in Impact. Are you fucking kidding me? That's the entire id of his character, is to be offensive and out of touch in the 2020 era. And now you're going to come down on him. It's unreal, the power that these crybaby motherfuckers can think they can yield. The Bucks thing with them taking pictures of the house, okay, I get that. That really just makes me want to get into AEW and do that as a storyline where I take pictures of his house and then kidnap their kids. But that's for my own fucking payday. But, when it comes to her switching gimmicks 4 times in 10 months and being on camera, why does she even have to be on camera? Like that just makes the fans look like the only reason why you're getting a shot is because you're Cody's wife. Yeah, well, not once, not twice, 3, 4 times. And now do you see where animosity could easily build against her because of that? Even though she is beautiful, a great personality, I'm sure the messages they keep sending are doing nothing but alienating their fan base further. And then, who's sending her secret racially charged messages. Her shit should be closed down from the marks. So if anybody's doing it, they should be doing it in public, which would be able to do that. So to me, that is it's possibility, but I'll say there's 30% possibility that's nothing more than a lie to shut things down because of the other things that I know behind the scenes that could come down. And let's also not forget, like, to tie this in right now, this dude Riley or Riley, whatever, from TNT, who's their boy, Tony Khan's pal, who got this whole deal, is now out for incompetence. And there's another dude in at Time Warner who doesn't give a shit about wrestling. He's focused on HBO Max, HBO Online, the real properties that draw money. Not, dude, you can put on Sopranos right now, and Sopranos on HBO will draw fucking 2 to 3 million viewers, where these guys can't draw 1 million with live shows. So, and that's a 20-year-old show. So the fact that if somebody with a real vision, who's not a wrestling mark and is easily worked, is now going to have, now the other part of that is did Eric Bischoff know there was heat there with that guy, came in, set him up to kick him off the ledge. Now that spot's open. They need somebody who's a wrestling pro, and Eazy-E's right here to do it. That makes a lot of sense to me. As relates back to the Brandy stuff, this is all just weird timing that she's going offline. This guy's getting fired. Meltzer's having a fucking pussy fit that AEW could get canceled. You know what I mean? 3-4 things like that usually don't rain down. There has to be some connection. I'm not sure what it is, loosely based, but I think things are not on the most even keel over there right now. And I saw Brian Cage get into it with some fan on Twitter, like selling for him, like he went at his wife, and then because it went at him because he was putting over his wife, Melissa, beautiful, talented, and then, you know, about, well, don't watch and don't do that. Do you think that, as a fucking monster who's supposed to be an unbeatable monster, selling for a mark on Twitter is a good fucking look? That's, to me, that's, you show up for work. Thanks for showing up. I'm taking your whole paycheck this week. Well, why? Here's the fucking tweet, Briz. That's why. I'm building you as a fucking unstoppable monster, and you're getting into back and forth with somebody with 4-3 fucking followers. Can't have it. We have to set some standard this way. And I don't care how much muscle you got, how much of a draw you could be, you've got to make an example out of them in front of the rest of them. But when you have children running a company who claim to be executive vice presidents, none of them with a master's degree, none of them with any business experience ever in the history of their life, you know, aside from selling pro wrestling tees and getting themselves booked, have never run a wrestling company. Now, Cody would have been the closest one, just watching Al. Cody never had the book. Cody never had the book anywhere how to do that and get everything over. So why would we expect positive results? You should expect failure, you know, really at the end of the day. And they'll probably deliver.
Well, Ben, you had mentioned, you know, these potential attacks through social media from fans. It's even to the point where I see it when I go to shows, that it's the mindset of even people inside the industry. Sometimes, you know, what they'll mention or just in their creative process or their philosophies. And I'm even thinking to myself, you know, I never miss an opportunity to shut the fuck up. And I'm thinking to myself, like, where the hell did you learn this? What the hell are you thinking? I mean, it's almost as if, you know, the marktards, the floodgates have been opened. They're not just infiltrating the business from social media standpoints, interacting with the talents. They have become the talents. Is there any way to go back now that those floodgates have been opened? And more so the sensitivity from certain fans here. We're seeing even this week an uproar that in a bit of potential kayfabe where between Hardy and Sammy Guevara wasn't an intentional chair shot, as Hardy saying, no, he doesn't have any spot here in the ring. You can go back and look at that thing where it looks like they strategically planned that thing out, but now people are offended. Well, how dare would they not just come out and tell us what was legitimately happening here, that they're trying to work this on us? I mean,
fuck you.
There's a decent amount of fans that are actually upset over this.
Fuck you. Fuck you fans, you fucking mark idiots. You don't dictate this art. We don't, do that. Like, it's my job to work you, not you to work me to get me to do what the fuck you want it to do. I take you on the ride. Oh, you're crying and upset about it? I don't give a shit. The crying upset is an emotion. Guess what I'm going to do? If I know I got you that way, bro, I'm going to fucking needle that way harder. You just let me know that you're able to be worked. And now I'm going to take that and I'm going to work the shit out of you to make you more angry, hate me more, do whatever it is, play more things like that where I keep you specifically in the dark, and then I make fun of you because you thought you were smart and you didn't know shit the whole time. That's the game that's been set up here. Are you going to cave to him and then go, Sammy's going to be like, sorry, Matt, that I hard weighed you with the chair. I know we didn't write it that way and it was supposed to just be off the other. Like, is that what you really want, AEW fans, to show that you have some power as a 30-something tape trader masturbator who's constantly on Twitter, who thinks that they can fucking get Matt Hardy to do what they want? Matt Hardy is a brilliant fucking creative genius in this shit, and I hope he sticks it to each and every one of you who are crying that way. You have no voice and no power here over real workers. That shit might work on some little shindy that you fucking go to where you can get a "this is awesome, fight forever" chant over, but to real fucking capo regime in this shit, you're nothing. You're a joke. So sit there and shut up.
Well, it even, just from the fans there, now we've got, Ben, as you mentioned, we've got, workers dictating this. Kylie Ray, during the hashtag speaking out, where there was a lot of serious issues that needed to be addressed, but in, her purpose and play into this thing was, can we finally do away with the term ring rat? And now we're seeing that Impact taking the stance, and that's rooted from the elimination of the term Rizzats from probably the best persona character they got going in Swinger.
So what does she want to call chicks that want to hang out with wrestlers that just kick around and fuck, that run through the locker room because they like dudes who are oiled up with muscles and are good looking dudes? What does she want to call those slutty whores that hang out at wrestling shows or NBA or NFL or MLB to try and get some dick on the side so they can get knocked up to become baby mamas? What does Kylie Ray want us to call those fucking women? Because, dude, there's people on your roster who want to fucking go, you will respect me as a 2020 woman. Now look at my fucking camel toe and go to my OnlyFans and 50% off on Adam and Eve using the code Trish Parker. What the fuck do you want me to do? You want me to respect you as a woman who's willing to show me camel toe to make me want to fucking masturbate and have sexual thoughts, but I have to elect you as the vice president of the fucking United States at the same time and not pass judgment on you sexually? Get the fuck out of here with that. You cannot have it both ways. And if she's really all upset about it and wants fucking equality, where's her stooge report of what happened to her on AEW on the way out in the speaking out movement? Again, do as I say, not as I do. I'm trying to protect ignorant, lowest bottom feeding meth head local whores from every town in America by not calling them rats. It's exactly what they are. I got mad buddy who's been trapped by girls locally who've now got 3 baby daddies. I'm supposed to and get support from each of them and collect fucking welfare on the side. I'm supposed to respect her as a woman when all she's done is use her crotch as a means to fucking get more welfare out of the world and bring in kids who are going to perpetuate another fucking generation of lowest level. But she's the Statue of Liberty for these fucking Rizzies. Go online. There's tons of girls who do nothing all day long on Instagram. It'd be Insta whores to go to their OnlyFans showing camel toe, ass shots, blurring out their nipples while they fucking do titty drops on there. And they have 2 and 3 million followers. I'm supposed to respect these women and their fucking opinions on Chaucer and fucking Shakespeare? Get the fuck out of here. Call a whore. It's the oldest profession in this world. But now in the speak out movement, every woman is more important and will not be marginalized by a man. Meanwhile, they're fucking trying to fucking show you everything they can on Instagram to get a dime from you without having to fucking go fully nude until you go to their OnlyFans. It's unreal. The double world these children live in now, this reality that they want to create, is unreal. They just need a $5 face slap every day they get out of bed and think like that, just to rock their face and leave that swelling, pounding feeling. So it's reinforced that this is reality, not because what you say it is going to make it that way. And you go crying to management, and then management changes it because they're scared of a lawsuit in the speaking out Me Too movement era. Nope. You know what I do? You're fired. Thanks for playing. You don't tell me what to do here. You are a player in the game. You are not the game.
Beast? A cherry on top of all that?
ProWrestlingTees.com/Ben Hamin. Is that it?
And shoot, she's a phenomenal wrestler until she was on that Wrestle House thing, grabs a beautiful fucking snatch, a headlock takeover, wrenches it, back bridge, working fucking good little headlock story. Then we go into head scissors, and I got your nose spot. We're done here. Thanks for playing.
I guess the question I have is, so are groupies not a thing anymore? Can we not talk about groupies either for bands or anything else? I mean, it's just, it's a thing that people do. People are groupies. People are rats. It's just, they're not along with the territory.
They're wrestling endorsers. That's what they are.
Okay.
Yeah. So whatever, wrestle endorse as many penises in your mouth as you want to, lady. I guess but you don't have to be called rats anymore. And to be honest with you, that's the rat, not a sexual on the side rat, some old mafia, FBI, run and fucking snitch on everybody in the locker room. As far as I'm concerned, if I was Swinger, bro, written off, done. Kylie Ray, with the guys in the locker room, I bet she's done right now, bro, except for maybe some of the real young SJWs. Like anybody who's got a fucking 10, 20-year career in already looks there and goes, okay, you're not in the mob. You're on that side of the railing still.
I mean, is there somewhere where this falls on maybe a veteran leadership inside the locker room or the management to make sure that these talents understand, what they're responsible for now? I mean, that they have actually, because of a simple tweet, now they have dictated a direction, something inside the company that is bad for business. Will there be a stern talking to maybe even help her understand, hey, we understand how you feel here, but this isn't necessarily attack. This is a part of a persona. It's been, as you laid out there. I mean, the whole act is that it's a throwback. Swinger is lost in the past here. He's out of touch with what's actually happening here in 2020. Is there anyone that's going to kind of reach out and try to explain that to her?
I would say not now, because the management has already struck down and made that switch. So for a veteran to go back and tell her, I mean, they might, if someone really has a close relationship with her and feels they can tell her in confidence without it getting out. But I mean, that's a risk, because now if you go to her and say, hey, what you did was wrong, then you're just undermined what the company did. And you also take the risk of her doubling down and say, no, screw you. And then that becomes an even bigger scene. So it's
there's way easier ways to do it.
Yeah.
There's because you do open yourself up for lawsuit in that. So you want to play SJW, modern corporation in a wrestling locker room. Okay. We'll take you. That means she pulled the trigger on something to back them into a corner and take 1-2 blows. And now she fucked up Swinger's gimmick for no real reason, possibly, or maybe reasons we don't know. But she did it, and she made that move. That's a chess move forward. Now, corporate could come back and they said, we're going to ban that. We're going to do it to appease. But now what do you think's going to happen to her?
Buried?
Well, yeah. You're pushing. Congrats. Your push is buried. And now you're going to be doing these little things, and we'll phase you off TV slowly because you can't be trusted. You've proven you can't be trusted in what we need you to do, because down the road, you might have to do some wrestling dirt like you've done before. But now I'm not going to bring you into that inner circle to help get you over to that next level, because we needed to get somebody else out who's a problem, and you could have that spot, right? Whatever it is, this is how wrestling works, or the opportunity to do it. Instead, you've shown that it's mistrust, and we'll find 4 or 5 other ways to starve you out now. And she can't go back to AEW. So there's only one. These are where people don't think, these kids, about what they're doing for their future and how that looks, dude. This stooge alone will stick with her for the end of her career.
Yeah. To bounce off that real quick, just because I think it goes along with it. So it goes back along to what we always talk about is never miss an opportunity to keep your mouth shut. There are times certainly to speak out and speak up. One thing I would teach the younger wrestlers at OVW is if you feel like you need to speak up, run yourself through these 3 questions. And if you can answer yes to all 3, then you speak up. The 3 questions are, number 1, is this something that needs to be said? Not something you want to say, it's something that needs to be said. Okay. If so, the next question, does this need to be said by me? If it needs to be said by someone else, then again, keep your mouth shut. If it needs to come from you directly and you alone, then yes, you say it. And then the third question is, does this need to be said by me right now? Because there's also the times to pick your audience and pick your spot, pick your timing, if you will. And if you can't answer yes to all 3 of those questions, and I guess if the opportunity isn't for you to say it right then, right now, if there's not a need for that, then keep your mouth shut. And that's the system I tell wrestlers to try to run themselves through before they start spouting off on social media or say something they can't take back.
Perfect.
And that, if you want to talk into the Cold War, maybe there's heat. Maybe she has heat with, or the girls do, with Swinger for something, and this is their way to fuck with. Like, that's the thing. What the fans see is never the story. There's always some animosity thing that sets it off. I'll fuck with them, you fuck with them, da 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 da. You know what I mean? And her coming off of, what was it, like allegations that Jericho tried to assault her or something like that?
Oh, wow.
Was that was she in AEW, right?
Yeah, I didn't really follow it as close when she left there.
I don't remember it either. I just know
it was.
There was hearsay of like she got approached by somebody, you know, and I don't want to say Jericho and fucking be talking.
It was so abrupt.
There was something that happened, right?
She came in and immediately was going to be, almost like in one of those Britt Baker roles where they were looking for her to be one of the marquees inside that division. They went to great lengths to put over, because even Cody took shots at Bayley and said, that happy-go-lucky, that's an act. We actually have the real thing. We actually have someone that truly does love professional wrestling and loves life, and you're going to see that. And then just like that, the honeymoon was over and the bags were packed. She's out the door. A lot of people thought she was leaving pro wrestling, and then she just suddenly resurfaces with Impact.
I don't know anything about this, but that could, the knowledge I don't have with the way that's set up could play into the knowledge I do have of like, oh, that makes sense that way. You know what I mean? And here's the other part of that. Not to say she puts her, I don't know this girl at all. But here's 2 times in 1 year she's now been in a situation that's sticky. Some people are their own worst enemies and have to cause fucking drama instead of being able to stay small and know that I just left that company and the heat passed. Why do you want to create more heat for yourself?
So I did just do a quick little bit of digging. So take this with a grain of salt. It also came with Reddit, so take it with a grain of salt. But apparently prior to her, so apparently when she first left AEW, the rumor was something happened with her and Jericho. And then she came out with a statement on Instagram stating explicitly that her leaving AEW did not have to do with anybody or situation in particular. So supposedly that's what blew off that situation. But you also know how things are in wrestling, how people will say one thing publicly, even though behind closed doors it's a different situation.
What wrestler would you know that gets in a shot in the hottest company and goes, no, I'm just out of here, dude. I want to go to Impact down the road and not have a full-time contract and make less money. And that makes perfect sense to me. There's nothing left out there. No information. And that's great work in kayfabe. Come on. Can we not see what's right there? And I don't know if it's that or if it's somebody else's stuff, but the fact that here we have 2 situations in a year's time. Give me a third one, and now we're on a bad pattern of behavior, of a self-destructive thing. And I don't know how it works with girls most of the time, but in the guy's side, the biggest baby faces are usually the biggest fucking dickheads, idiots in the fucking locker room. And she's a pretty big baby face. So I don't know if it works on the same shit. They just don't know. And usually the heels, the worst heels are the nicest guys who fucking get it. And You're only gonna make your rep so far in this biz. I mean, mine's probably fucked. Oh, he's Russo's stooge. He's Russo's boy. Oh, he does the fucking Taliban thing. Oh, he's on there stooging with the dirt sheets. I don't give a fuck. I'm a self-made man. You can't take nothing from me. I don't owe any of those people anything. So if they want the performance, they can pay for it. But to stay in the locker room, to stay on top without having any of the other stuff and doing those kind of moves, wow. I don't know what you expect to gain from that. I really don't.
Well, gentlemen, those are the headlines for this episode of the Monday Locker Room.
Red hot, man. Red hot today. But that's what we do on a Monday with the Broasters coffee flowing through us. Great monologues, great run-in by the hustler Rip Rogers to talk about a legend and give some perspective of history, man. So fortunate to have one of the best staff in wrestling punditry. I have the Hamin Media Group has the best staff of hosts, pundits, researchers, video editors. It's unbelievable the amount of people who are producing for us right now, who have that opportunity coming up with the 5-star Star Search gimmick as well. So be a part of this thing. And it's all about how much you're engaging with us and finding your online community. We appreciate it here at twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman, where we go live. But the people who've gotten the numbers up for HaminMediaGroup.podbean.com or on iTunes, we really appreciate that, as that's what we've been pushing hard this whole week, as well as our new sponsor, man, Tech Meme Ride Home Podcast. They wanted to join us for the 2 million downloads. It's, a coast-to-coast Silicon Valley standard podcast. So if you're really into tech stuff, check out Tech Meme Ride Home. It's 25 minutes. The host, Brian McCullough, deals with all the headlines from, whatever it's going to be, Apple, Elon Musk, as well as put in, the links in the description so you can go check them out afterwards. Just like we would have you do for the Conspiracy Horseman. We're going to tell you something, but go research it. And you'll be on the cutting edge of, where to invest. I think that's a big thing that I want to see Hamin Media Group actually move into, maybe investment, so we can all think about our futures and have the right knowledge forward. And I think Tech Meme Podcast, The Ride Home, is a great place to start that way, to get that insider info, to get on trends and see, hey, maybe we can cash in on vaccines or whatever it is for the Nancy Browns early. That Kodak stock went from $2 that morning to $50 in the afternoon. And if we can find that same type of info to punch in and punch out, I think in the tech side or wherever else we can expand to Hamin Media Group, I think Tech Meme Podcast is going to be a great place for that. So if you can go follow them wherever you get it, they're on everything, and let them know that Hamin Media Group sent you. That's only going to help us reinforce that relationship to keep the media here free because of their sponsorship and, ad roll like this that you heard in the beginning of the show. Big Ray did a whole new great commercial package for us. I want to thank him for that when he's not feeling that well, to be able to go through and keep producing, man. I'm thankful for that. So we're going to keep adding on as much as we can to bring you guys the best entertainment and information so you can get away from that mainstream media shit that's constantly clogging up our feeds, messing with our heads, and putting us in a space that we don't need to be in. Hamin Media Group at hackerhamin.podbean.com is the place to be, and we appreciate you logging on there. Beast, what do you got going on today?
Well, today, besides making old ladies do some squats and, of course, trying to get a little more producing in on the upcoming drinking show, just looking forward ahead, actually, for this week. Of course, we got with that, besides all the other great Hamin Media content, you can catch the Impact Attack, where I will have some other character on the Impact roster I will try to imitate to see if I can get on the show. And then, of course, the Next Level Wrestling podcast. We're going to try to go live on YouTube this week, but don't hold me to it. I've got to try to get my technology figured out. Right. But that being said, you can also be sure to, even if we aren't live, you can also check it out via Hamin, or not Hamin Media Group, hackerhamin.podbean.com. This week's homework for anyone that wants to participate. So on NXT, we have Escobar and Legado del Fantasma has been getting heat on Breezango. They've implicated both Drake Maverick and Swerve Scott as potential third baby faces for a 6-man tag coming up. Although there's also the opportunity for possibly bringing in someone else. But this last week we saw heat got put on Breezango. So the booking homework is what happens between now and TakeOver 30. I want you to book who's the third baby face and what happens between now and then what happens at TakeOver 30. So we're going to break that down, see people's ideas. You can email nextlevelwrestlingreview@gmail.com. Send us your ideas. And if it's good, we will talk about it on the show and deep dive into it. So it should be a lot of fun.
That sounds great, man. I like that mid card, mix them up as we try and keep Breezango hot. I mean, there's money on them. They can get over there. They've proven that, but how many times are they going to die on the vine with something? But competent workers. How did the homework for the McAfee stuff turn out? How was the grading on that? Some people's stuff.
It was overall pretty good. And this is where I'm interested in, and I think you might be right, Ben, in that they're pushing McAfee as the heel here, which I thought for sure they were gonna try to leave him as the baby face, but and people's ideas were kind of going towards that. But no, the ideas overall were good. It was working towards the match. A lot were still chiming in from the previous week's homework on building back up Dijakovic and either putting him on a winning streak to get him back over, or to have him go on a losing streak, which can also work to get someone over. And I thought that was actually pretty ingenious for a casual. One of the fans, I think one of our regulars though, had chimed in and mentioned that, but that's something that a lot of casual fans don't recognize, that a losing streak can actually get you over too, if done correctly. The one we saw with what's his name and WWE, unfortunately, was not the case.
We got it over though with Johnny Punch.
Right, I got over huge in OVW on the losing streak. So it can be done. It just has to be done in a certain manner. So that was.
You ever been on a show with that Donovan Dijak?
I've not. No, I don't know him. I couldn't even pronounce his name at first.
They changed the COVID. Dijak's a fucking good name. That sounds like something from Tekken, like Dijak. Like fucking. Dude, he's a blue chip property, bro. I've been on 2 shows with him, and I saw him at NXT in Buffalo. And there's money written all over that guy if they have the right thing to fit him in that way. Definitely paid his dues on the indies, so he gets it too. You know what I mean? Not just he looks like a cookie cutter guy they'd pull out of some college. You know what I mean? Who doesn't care about wrestling, but it's not the case with him. So I'm interested to see. I think to be honest with you, I'd put him in my title picture. I think he's right there. And can deliver X amount. Like as a dude who's going to be a top heel to help get babies over, might not be your champ, for a long run. He's got a lot of worth on him, and just being in the locker room, if you were to see him, you look over there and go, yeah, I can do something with that guy and fucking put him in a great storyline that way. So hopefully he gets the shot that he can deliver on, because I think he can, man. With Breezango and with whatever it is, both of them there. Are they doing? I saw him come out like a spaceman gimmick like 2 or 3 months ago. Are they back to?
It's always different every time, and they try to make it relevant. So what sparked what happened the previous week was they came out as luchadors, and that had angered Legado del Fantasma, who was representing the Mexican culture. And so last week they had jumped them and made an example out of them. And during the promo, Escobar had specifically called out Swerve Scott, which implies he's going to be involved with it. But it's interesting because prior to this, it had been Drake Maverick that had been involved in this feud. So that's where I'm like, are they just mixing it up just to run through different baby faces and get some more heat, and they're just revolving it until we come back to either Drake or someone else, or is Swerve going to be the guy here? And that's what I'm trying to get booked through the listeners and fans that tune in every week.
Hope Spot 234 use says, does NXT Review have video, Ted or Ben, and also does WLR at this time? Because I'm not producing those. Now
I did get last week's produced, and it is up on the Hamin Media Group page. Okay. So I am at least trying. So at the very least, I will get it post produced and put up on the page. We just might not be live. But if you go to Hamin Media Group on YouTube, you can see last week's episode.
What are you using when you to record? StreamYard at all? Or anything?
Colin's the one that records it, and he sends it over to me.
Okay, because I think if you guys even got the free stream, you got the free StreamYard account, which gives you like 5 hours a month, maybe more. I think you could hook that right up to the Hamin Media Group YouTube and go live while you guys are recording right there, and then it'll be up there as well. So we'll look into that because I do want both of those shows to have video. It's just that the guys who produce them are doing it at different times, and they really don't have. Well, Man Beast does for Next Level, but the other guys don't have the Horseman Twitch access or a YouTube, so it'd have to be done post. But I would like to have that up because I love the Wednesday locker room. Strangler Steve back now with Bello, and obviously Billy Ray Valentine. They have a good time with it, man. All the locker rooms hitting on all cylinders. To be able to get Rip Rogers 2 weeks in a row, and maybe even just make him a regular at this point. I think I might try and do that, man. So appreciate it, and everybody following us on all these platforms. I know it's diverse, and even if you want the propaganda, go to Instagram. El Plaja is doing awesome stuff over there at Hamin Media Group on Instagram, digestible videos. Kaz is clipping out stuff on Twitter for us for Russo Brand and Hamin Media Group. I'm trying to get that up on my YouTube. Ben Hamin as well. So plenty of stuff here for you guys to subscribe to, man. RBV, what are you subscribing to today?
Well, as always, for the delicious of the day, the pop of the day, and a whole bunch of pro wrestling randomness. You can keep up with me on Twitter and Instagram at The Real RBV, or over on Facebook at Richard Bronson Vickery. I'd like to encourage everybody, especially this evening, if you're going to get through 3 hours or all, there's only one way to really do it, and that's to join in discussion, the live discussion on Facebook at the Hamin Media Discussion Group. If you're not already a member, just go ahead and give us a search. We'll get you right in the door there. All the weekly shows. William see it does an incredible job putting those things together for us, and it really is the most entertaining part of Monday nights.
Yeah, man, I think William Alcia, he's spot on with a lot of the news that he's getting out there. Some of it scares me because it's so terrible creatively. And I'm like, fuck, please let this die on the fucking vine, but we'll see if there's a John Cena NWO return and all this other bullshit that they are trying to throw against the wall, which I believe in these meetings, they just have no clue anymore. It's just a dysfunctional, broken process over there. And in the dying days, there's plenty to critique and help punch them up and punch them down if need be. We don't like to do that, but if stooges are going to stooge, then you're going to get called out. That's just how it is. Respect, obviously, once again to Kamala, legend lost today. Enjoyed decades of work and being able to escape and use them as funny references, and Kamala Harris will get destroyed all fall along with Kamala references, and I look forward to all that kind of shit too. So there's only one thing left to say as we exit the locker room here on Monday, infidels.
This is the Hustler at Rogers. Yeah, it's fucking me. Yeah, and listen to the fucking Hamin Media Group. That's Ben Hamin Media Group. From Rip Rogers. Go get him and go fuck yourself.
And it's Dr. Ted. It's him. It's RBV. It's me. They've been waiting for that one, so you got to come in hot with it next week. It's Hacker Hamin. We'll be back. Let's see, Wednesday morning with Impact Attack, right, Dr. Beast? We tomorrow night. I'll be on 2CW's feed, taking over Hack Attack tomorrow night, 8 p.m. So if you don't see me on the watch along, hop over there, and we'll do it all together here, infidels, at Hamin Media Group, hackerhamin.podbean.com, twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. It's the Monday Locker Room, infidels. Y'all. Y'all.